Hello Cancer, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your current energy, ultimately answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone, so do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, we're going to start with looking at overall energy for your current situation, and then we're going to look at the details of what's going on, including the hope, the fear, the blockage and hidden energies, the guidance, and the outcome, what you're needing to know moving forward. So let's start with overall energy through oracle cards for you, Cancer. What are you needing to know? Confidence is your key to success. There's no room for doubting yourself. That's what I heard. There's no room for doubting yourself. The answers you need are coming. A fiery climax approaches. It's this energy of something kind of building. Like you're building something or you're building to something. On the bottom, you have a new start is coming. I feel like you've been in this phase of building for a while, and you're wanting to get to a certain place where you're finally there, right? You're at this place where you look around, you go, okay, all the work paid off and where I want to be, and it's almost like you can finally relax. And I feel like in this energy that you're in right now, you're kind of in like final moments before this happens. But when we're getting close to the things that we want, that's when fear is loudest. That's when self-doubt is loudest. That's when we second guess ourselves more and we start to feel really lost and overwhelmed because all of a sudden things are, feel really, really heavy and we're not able to see things as clearly. That's where it's like there's no room for self-doubt. And it doesn't mean that we're not able to feel it or experience it, because we're human beings and we're going to have those experiences. What it means is that you don't act on it. It means that you keep putting one foot in front of the other as if things are working out, as if you're getting to where you want to go, as if there's a solution for every single obstacle or challenge that that does appear, and then you find yourself on the other side. So you're building toward a pretty significant like payoff or payout, maybe even. But it is going to be incredibly important that you maintain an energy of confidence and self-assuredness, even during those moments where it does waver a little bit, trying to show up as much as you can with that energy. Because if you start to tap into that self-doubt and that insecurity, that's where you start to create room for self-sabotage. And we do tend to sabotage things right before they happen, because in the midst when there's all of that pressure and things are really intense, that's typically where we start to respond from fear, self-doubt, insecurity, which is what self-sabotage is. So just having an awareness right now that the energy is heavy because it's supposed to be, because you're closing out, one cycle, stepping into a new one. So yeah, I don't necessarily know what this is about, but if that was vague, it's because we're looking at overall energy. Let's dive into this more with tarot. We're going to look at the details of your current situation. But the answers you need are coming. I kind of see this as like clarity is coming. Like you're going to get to a place of clarity where you're able to kind of relax a little bit, because there's a lot of stress in this, for sure. A lot of stress. All right. The Five of Pentacles, an energy of loss, an energy of lack, an energy of I don't have what I need, I'm not going to get to where I want to go, I've been putting in all of this work and it just feels like it doesn't matter. I can relate to that, and I know how difficult that can be. I want clarity on this Five of Pentacles though. The Magician, you aren't there yet, meaning that you haven't reached your destination. So what you're experiencing isn't your end. This is not the end. This isn't the end of the journey. This isn't the end of the manifestation. So I feel like that's what's really important. And I will say, I've often said that lack and loss are never destinations, merely the indication that you're still in the middle of the journey. You're in the middle of the journey, and you're in the middle of one of the harder parts of the journey, where the lack is loud, the doubt is loud, the insecurity, the fear is loud. You don't have to listen to it though. You have to feel your way through it, process it, experience it, navigate it, but you don't have to believe it. And I think that it's really important so that you don't act on it. I've always said that one of the keys to manifestation, creation, whatever you want to call it, is acting as if it's working out, almost like showing up in a place where you feel a little delusional because you're like, I don't know how this is working out, but you don't need to know. And I think that's the other thing that's really coming through here is like, you don't need to know how it's going to work out. All right, let's look at the hope. The Star with the 9 of Swords. Okay. I feel like you've been living in a place of a lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety about where, or like stress, anxiety about where you're headed, what's going to happen. And I feel like what you're wanting is ultimately to get to a place where that is no longer the case. Like with the Star card, I feel like this is a place where you're able to feel a little bit more inspired and excited. Like right now, I feel like there's a lot of I don't necessarily know if this is even the right word, but a lot of dread about like where you're going, because it's just like, man, this has just been so hard and so challenging. And I feel like getting to a place where you're a little bit more excited about your future. I feel like right now you're looking at your future and things feel scary, and I feel like you're wanting things to look a little bit more like brighter. And I feel like they will, absolutely. But one of the things that we do need to learn is to find peace in the journey, right? If our peace is contingent on things always going according to our plan, that's not peace, that's control. So we have to be willing to kind of take a step back and to surrender a little bit to where we're at. You need to know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. I feel like that's really important too. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And the Star is about continuing to follow divine inspiration, follow where you feel the most pulled to, and to trust that it's interesting because it's almost like things are working out for you. You just don't see it yet or feel that way. So it's like your anxiety and your stress is valid and it's understandable, but it's not indicative of what's actually going on. Like, look at this card. I feel like this is a good representation of that. Right? It's like she's so stressed and she's so worried, but none of it's like real. It's kind of like imaginary things. And I don't want to say like you're imagining your stress. Like you probably have very real things to be stressed and worried about. That's not what I'm saying. But it's almost like you don't understand right now how everything is actually kind of working out according to a plan that maybe you're not fully aware of right now. You know, the universe always has a greater plan than our own. And the more that we can surrender to that, the more things, kind of fall into a place with ease. What's the biggest fear here? The past repeating itself. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, you've been in... Okay. The fear isn't of the future, it's of the past, which is interesting. Because you're not afraid of what's ahead, you're afraid of what you've experienced and repeating certain experiences that you've had, especially if there's failure or loss there. This is important for you to know that certain things happened in the past for you to learn and heal and grow and evolve. And the person that you are and the knowledge that you have now and the experience that you have now is built for different outcomes. Meaning that you're not going to experience the same things you did in the past because you're not that same person anymore. And I feel like that's really important for you to know for a lot of different reasons. I feel like, first of all, it's important for you to remember how freaking far you've come and to give yourself a lot of credit for that and to remember you're worthy and deserving of good things, Cancer. But also, I feel like it's important because it's going to affect how you show up, right? If you show up believing that things are going to be like they always have, you might find yourself creating past experiences. But if you're able to show up believing that things are working out better than you're able to really understand right now, then it's like that's how you become the creator of your future, right? And you are in the middle of a manifestation journey. Things are dark and scary and overwhelming, and that is part of it. But I do feel like it's important for you to know that you're not the same person that you were when you experienced past outcomes. So your future outcomes are going to naturally be different and more aligned with who you are stepping into. What is the blockage and hidden energies here? Okay, ego. The Eight of Cups. Oh, and the Temperance. And then here you are as the Queen of Cups. Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. This is intense. You're in a really important phase of your life. This isn't just like about one specific situation. It's about everything that's being brought forth because of this situation. The self-doubt and the worries and the fear. You're working through a lot. And I feel like, again, you're needing to give yourself a lot more credit for that. But one of the biggest things that I feel like is blocking you right now is ego. And ego is not to be demonized. Its primary goal is survival. But there's a need to have an awareness of the difference between your instinct and your intuition. Because your instinct is naturally going to draw you into actions and behavior and decisions that align with who you used to be. Your intuition is going to draw you toward actions and behaviors and decisions that align with the person that you're becoming. We are, as human beings, we are wired a certain way, and we're wired a certain way based on the experiences that we've had. When we want to create new outcomes in our life, we have to rewire ourselves, right? We have to step into new thought processes, into new beliefs, into new, habits, all of it. We have to, if we want new experiences in our life, we have to become a new version of ourselves. You're doing that, okay? And I think that, again, that's a lot of why you can expect new outcomes. But there's something you need to be aware of, that you need to be cautious of. This feels like a little bit of like a warning, or not like warning is it's so strong. A little bit of like a, hey, pay attention to this. When you're in this energy of fear, when things feel scary and loud and uncertain, you in that moment have a choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but you have a choice. You have a choice in how you respond and in how you show up. And right now, I feel like you're kind of in this in-between of like, not totally identifying with who you used to be and the life you used to live, but also not fully having fully stepped into the version of you that you're becoming. And in this in-between, there's still a natural pull toward responding to things like you used to, with fear and self-doubt and insecurity and impulsiveness and rash behavior. And right now is a time to increase that awareness and make sure that you're making very grounded and intentional decisions. That's really important for somebody. Because the grounded, intentional decisions and like asking yourself questions like, how am I going to show up today? What decisions am I going to make that are going to lead me closer to the things that I desire versus, to repeat the past. And I feel like the more that you can increase your awareness around that, the more you're going to step into that version of yourself that you're becoming, and the more your life is going to reflect that back to you. So you're in the middle of a lot of cloudiness right now, right? So you don't want to lean on your natural programming. You want to be very intentional and very conscious with the decisions that you're making, the words that you're speaking, the things that you're doing. Just be very intentional about where you're directing your energy and ask yourself, does this truly align with the person I want to be, with the person I want to become, with the life that I want to live? And the more intentional we get with our decisions and our choices, the more we align with them. That's, I feel like, it's a really important message for somebody, because the hidden energy is ego, meaning ego can kind of creep up a little bit when we least expect it, and your ego is always going to draw you to what's familiar, because your ego knows it has control there, right? If your ego knows you can survive certain experiences, it might self-sabotage because it knows that it's used to that. It's used to the experience of self-sabotage. It knows you can survive there. Your ego isn't your enemy, it's your protector, but you don't want it driving the boat, the car, whatever resonates with you. I don't know why I said boat. I want it at the wheel. All right. Guidance here for Cancer. You could put down the past. You're carrying so much about, well, last time I did this, or, in the past I've experienced this or that, or this has been like that. And this is so much easier said than done, okay? But you can lay a lot of that down. I feel like a lot of your anxiety and stress about where you're headed stems from the past, right? Yeah, literally. The Three of Swords, the things that you've experienced in the past, the heartbreak. You can put a lot of that down because you learned from those experiences. You grew from those experiences. It's like you can trust your life more now than I think you ever really were able to. But I also feel that this is a lot of like nervous system re-regulation, which I don't talk a lot about on this channel. I've learned a lot about, within the last recent couple of years. But when we're coming out of, difficult experiences, traumatic experiences, and we're teaching ourselves to live in a different vibration, it's a lot of giving ourselves like experiences that show us that we're worthy and deserving of good things when we're used to experiencing the opposite. I feel like there's kind of a couple of things here. It's like you're not going to fully be able to control that part of you that is like, oh my gosh, I'm used to getting my heart broken or whatever. I feel like there's a need to trust the new experiences that you have in a way that you never really have before. And a lot of that is leaning on trusting yourself and the version of you that you're stepping into. You make healthier choices now. You set stronger boundaries. You speak your truth, right? And you're not perfect, obviously. Nobody is. But you're doing things differently than you have. Therefore, you're going to experience different situations. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a need to really lay down the stress of the past. Again, not always that easy, but to trust that the recreation of the past only happens when there's no growth, when there's no healing or evolution, right? So if you've done the work, if you've really done the work to change how you're showing up, the beliefs that you're carrying, the thoughts that you have, the outcomes are going to be different. So with that being said, what is the outcome? Another thing with this is not a time to worry about other people's stuff. Yeah, you got a lot of your own stuff to focus on. Make sure you're prioritizing you and your needs too. Obviously, you have obligations and you have responsibilities and things like that. Just make sure that you are staying at the top of your list. That's important too. Outcome here for Cancer. Three of Wands, the Ten of Cups, and the Strength. I feel like you're about to find out how powerful you really are. I feel like you're about to find out how far you actually have come, too. It's like you're not fully seeing the extent of how much you've grown because your life hasn't reflected it back to you yet. And I think that that's why you're still doubting it. Still doubting yourself and all the things that we talked about, like you're still struggling with lack and things of that nature. But I mean, with this outcome, I feel like, seeing the Three of Wands, the Ten of Cups, the Strength, this is a lot of like pay off. This is what I said, like pay off or pay out. And it doesn't necessarily mean financially. It's like emotionally, like getting to this place, and that's what you were wanting, right? This place of being able to exhale, this place of feeling like held, feeling safe, feeling secure. I feel like you're well on your way. And I actually feel like a lot of this is a lot closer than you think that it is. But I do feel that this is gonna, I don't want none of this is meant for it to be like fear mongering or anything like that. I do feel like in the past you have made self-sabotaging decisions and when you've been in the place that you currently are because you're so close, right? Just be aware of that and make the decisions that serve the beliefs that you're guided and supported and that everything is working out in alignment with your highest good. Not all, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes here and there, but just again, being very intentional with your choices, you're going to find out like how powerful you are, how far you've come, and ultimately like how like good your life can get. That's kind of what this feels like. It's like you're about to be very surprised by how good your life can get. And it feels like the payoff of a lot of work that you have put in. So you should be very proud of yourself, Cancer. I think that, this is definitely for a collective who has been actively doing the work, who has been working on themselves and their belief systems. And I think that you're going to see how much it really is going to pay off. But I'm going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into this. I'm going to clarify. I'm going to pull 3 cards for each message, getting deeper into what you're needing to know and do in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Then I've got an advice card to pull for you at the very end. Thank you so much, Cancer, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing. And I'm wishing you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Bye, Cancer.